Applied Materials was up about 5% last week. It's down 5% on the month and up about 18% in the last 3 months. So this stock is looking good right now. It's in a very long-term bullish uptrend. It's had a pullback recently, found support at 123. It's broken a trend line in the last 6 weeks. And now it does look bullish. It looks as if it wants to move up and challenge the all-time high of 256. So setting up for a medium to long-term trade with great upside potential. So in this video, I'm going to conduct a price analysis for Applied Materials and offer my thoughts on whether you should buy this stock now. Let's take a look. I'd like to thank the Motley Fool for sponsoring this video. Visit fool.com/DavidB for the 5 best stocks to buy now. Use my special link to get $200 off their epic annual subscription. Now, if you find value in my analysis of Applied Materials today or other stocks on my channel, you may also find value in my email newsletter. If you subscribe, I'll share with you professional trading tips to help you make more profits trading stocks. Link down below, check it out. So Applied Materials is looking bullish right now. It's in a long-term bullish uptrend. It's pulled back recently and just broken a trend line. So it is setting up for a potential medium to long-term trade. You can see here since the price peak of 256, the current all-time high, Applied Materials was sold off. It did trend down into this support level of $123, and that trough was created this year in April. Now, since price found support at 123, it has been moving up gradually. It has been trending up. You can see it moved up here, created this peak about 176, pulled back and formed a higher base. And then recently it's broken the trend line. It's broken through and created this peak at about $200. And in the last 3 weeks, it's pulled back. And last week we've got a reversal bar, showing there is support at 174, and price is now looking like it's going to move up and take out this peak here of 200, which will confirm an entry for you for this trending stock. And the next obvious price target for Applied Materials will be this level up here of 256. And that would give you a potential upside of 30%. Now, zooming out on the weekly chart for Applied Materials, we can see that this stock trends beautifully. It's almost like Nvidia. It really does trend beautifully and gives you lots of simple opportunities to trade this stock. You can be in and out making 20-30% on a regular basis. You can see here, over the last 10 years, it has trended well. Really big uptrend here between October in 2015 to a little double top pattern here in March 2018, so almost 2 to 3 years. It trended down, it found a higher base, and once again it broke a trend line here, and then it moved up very predictably before falling away during 2020. That was probably the COVID low. Out of the COVID low, once again it surged up, created this peak here about $70 before it sold off again, before having a really long uptrend towards these levels here. And you can see each time it pulls back, it does form a higher base before pushing off once again. And on each occasion, you could apply a simple trend line to really illustrate the price action and use that line as your marker, your entry marker, to confirm when the trend is changing and when to buy the stock. And then, of course, you can target the next obvious level of resistance as your take profit target. So you can see here, this peak here in January 2022, Applied Materials was sold off. It trended down very rhythmically into this low here of $70. And then once it's found support at $70 and broke through the trend line, if I zoom in, you can see it created that peak after the trend line of around $116. It pulled back, found support at 93, and then it took off. It took out that peak here, and then it trended nicely all the way up to the recent all-time high from July 2024. So in that move from the trough to the peak, there was a total upside of 260%. Now, of course, you wouldn't have caught all of that move. That wouldn't be possible. But very easy to catch most of it. So trend line was broken here. This was your first peak here. So you could have entered on confirmation around about this level here. You can see here after it pulled back, it moved back up. So you could have entered in this week here, perhaps the week after. So this bar here. So if you'd entered there on confirmation, right about here, then potentially you'd have 120% on offer. But of course, if you'd taken profit here, just with a simple take profit rule, or you could have stayed in the trend until the trend line was broken. So as an example, you can see I've applied the trend line for the trend moving up after entry, which you can apply after you've got 2 or 3 price troughs. So you can see you've got the trend line here. It did pull away from that trend during October 2023 to create an accelerated trend. And you see I've got that second line moving up here. So if you're not using the sort of upper level as your take profit, you can simply stay in the trade until it turns against you. So you can see, for example, here for this stock, there was a bearish week there. It broke the trend line there, and 2 weeks in a row. So you could have exited once it closed for 2 weeks in a row under the trend line and taken profit there. So if you'd used those set of rules, entered on confirmation here and then exited after that second close, you would have had 85% profit with that simple trade using trend lines. So right now, Applied Materials is setting up for another possible trade. You can see the way that it trends rhythmically. So we've got the price peak up here, 256, it's fallen away. It's trended down. You can see my confirmed trend line here, and it's found support here. So significant price trough of 123. We've got the trend line break, and we've got that first price peak here, our marker for potential entry. It's now fallen away. It's testing the sell and resolve. It does look as if now it found support at 174. And last week, there's been some buying interest around 175. Buys have come in, selling has run out, and now it has reversed. We've got a reversal bar here last week. It does look as if now, after the trend line break, it's now going to move up. So potentially you can take an entry once price takes out this peak here of $200. And an entry above that key level there would give you potential 30% upside over the next 3 to 6 months, working up towards this target up here around about 257, which is that all-time high, the peak back here. However, I think actually there's more on offer with this stock. If we look at the previous bullish runs for Applied Materials, over the last 8 years, we can sort of take an average of how fast it moves. So for example, this run here from that low to the peak was 335%. So this next move here from that trough during December 18 to that peak, we've got 140%. This run here from it was September 2020 to that peak there, we've got 200%. The most recent bullish run from this low here, October 2022 to the peak up here, we've got 260%. So clearly this stock, when it runs hard and runs well. 335, 140, 205 and 260. Really, really good returns on offer here if you're patient with this stock. So currently, this move so far, if you look closely, so far from this trough to the current peak, it's only gone 60%. So it's got a lot more to give. Let's say it goes 100, for example. Let's say it goes 100. That's going to take you towards this level here. So 100 from the trough, so an easy 30% from the entry there. But it could move up further. Let's say it goes up 100, let's go to 150. And just see where that takes us. I'll just zoom out a bit so we can get that on screen. 135 is there. Let's take it up to 150%. So that would be around about $300 for 150%. 150, so that wouldn't be as big as that move there. It wouldn't be as big as that move there. It would be similar to that move back there, and nowhere near that move back there. So 150 over the medium to long term, I think is conservative for the stock and the way that it is trending. So 30% to the all-time high of 260, and then if it extends further, which I think it will based on the historic price action, you can target $300, which will be 50% upside from the entry down here. Of course, if you're more risk tolerant, if you want to take higher risk, you could enter further down. You could look at entering on next week's open around about 185. It has broken the trend line, found resistance, it has come back, it looks as if it's finding support. You could buy the reversal here to get in earlier. And of course, by entering here, it's going to give you 62% to 300. So more upside, but more risk. Overall, this stock is looking really good for a medium to long-term trade. You can see if I zoom right out, just auto-correct that chart. This stock trends beautifully, it really does. It trends very predictively and it lends itself really well to using simple trend lines for entries and exits. So overall, should you buy this stock? Should you buy Applied Materials? If you're long-term bullish on this stock, I think it would be a great addition to your portfolio. Lots of upside long-term and over the medium term, potentially 30 to 60% in the next 12 months based on the historical price action. But of course, one thing to note, this company is going to report next week in 4 days. So of course, around reporting, expect more volatility. And you can see on the screen, I've got the earnings overlaid. You can see this company consistently hits earnings, but because it hits earnings doesn't mean the price of the stock always goes up after they report. Sometimes it can fall away. There was a bit of a surge here during last report here. This one, it fell away slightly, and this one here had a big drop. So there's other factors at play. Positive earnings doesn't mean always it's going to go up. It all depends on how investors react to the news, whether it's positive or negative. But based on purely technicals, based on my chart analysis, this stock definitely is a buy over the medium to long term. However, with earnings next week, you may want to wait an extra week just to see how the market reacts to the earnings. But if you're longer term, you can buy it straight away. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you bullish on Applied Materials? Would you buy next week before earnings, or are you going to wait for the week after for the risk to die down? Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.